Hey guys, I'm Nicole. We're gonna jump into a short and sweet hips and heart opening sequence. Nothing crazy, just slow and gentle and yummy, and it's gonna be good. Let's come into a child's pose. Knees wide towards the edges of the mat, hips on top of heels, arms extend out long. First heart and hip opener here. Forehead rests on the floor. Land here with an open mouth exhale. So I assume if you're diving into a short and sweet and simple sequence that you're probably coming and going from other things in your day. And what I'm going to ask is that for this next several minutes together, that you give yourself permission to drop in and to continue dropping in and catching yourself when the mind tries to take you back into your to-do list or back into whatever's going on outside of this exact moment. And this moment, we're hanging out in child's pose together over the interwebs. And we're breathing. And that breathing is the foundation for the practice. And so if all you do for these next several minutes is sit here in child's pose and breathe, then you've done your practice. But if you're ready for a little more movement, on your inhale, let's roll up the spine, finding a tabletop position. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, couple cycles of cat-cow. Inhale to open collarbones, lift tailbone and gaze. Exhale, round the spine. Couple more, inhale, open up. And exhale, curl in. One more, your own breath. Doesn't need to connect with mine. And find a neutral spine. Knees stay underneath the hips. We're just going to walk the hands forward into a puppy pose or heart-melting pose, a personal favorite. Sliding the heart down towards the floor, but keeping the hips lifted. The idea in this shape is that the heart would soften maybe eventually towards the floor before the chin. May or may not be possible today. That's fine. And then inhale to come back up through center. Hands underneath the shoulders. Ground into the right hand and sweep the left fingertips overhead so you're spinning the heart to the left side of the room. Exhale, thread the left arm underneath you. So left shoulder and left ear come all the way down to the floor. You can either hang out right here, or you could take a big step back with the right foot. And or right hand could come behind the back. Drop the right knee back underneath right shoulder. Right hip, oh my goodness. Drop right knee underneath right hip. Right hand underneath right shoulder. Left fingertips peel open. And then drop the left hand back down underneath left shoulder. Swap it out, right fingertips open up. And exhale to thread the right arm underneath you, right shoulder and ear to the floor. You can either stay here or left leg could take a big step back. Left fingertips could take a big step forward. And then left knee underneath left hip. Left hand underneath left shoulder. Inhale, open up. Right shoulder to stack on top of left. And then right hand back down to the floor. Curl onto the toes, send the hips back, downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let it feel good. Maybe you find a little bit of bounce in the heels, kicking heels towards floor. And then inhale to come back through center. Right leg lifts high. On your exhale, we're going to step the right foot forward to the outside of right hand. Drop the hips down and forward. Soften left knee to the floor. I'm going to ask that you really listen to the left knee here. This might be your endpoint. This might be where you hang out. Or you could bend into the left knee. You could reach the right hand around for left toes. This is also a point where a strap is an option. And then if you've got the left toes, let's release them back down. Lift the left knee. On your exhale, take a big step forward, Malasana Yogi Squat. Elbows to the knees, hands to the heart, tailbone roots down, crown of the head reaches high. Interlace all 10 fingers here, and let's roll out the wrists. Switch direction of the circles. And on your exhale, straighten out the legs, lift the hips, walk the feet back to hip width distance apart. And then bring the hands to interlace at the base of the skull, chin in towards chest, elbows towards each other. Find a little bit of a bounce. And release the hands down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Slow roll up the spine. Come all the way up to standing. Arms extend up overhead at the top, bring palms to touch. On your exhale here, we're going to cactus out the arms, peel the heart open towards the sky. Inhale to come back up through center. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine, pause. Bring hands to interlace at the low back, so you're peeling the heart through shoulders. And then keep the clasp of the hands and exhale, fold. And releasing hands back down to the mat. Take a big step back with the right foot. We're coming into our runner's lunge on the second side. Heel toe the left foot to the side of the mat so that both hands can come to the inside of the foot. And then drop the right knee down. Start by pressing the hips down and forward. That's going to lengthen out the front of the right hip just as much as it's opening up into the left hip. Again, stay right here if this is your edge, or bend into right knee. Left hand could reach around for right toes if that's available and supported, and if it feels good in the body. And release right toes down. Lift the right knee from the mat. Kick the left toes all the way back, three-legged down dog. And then soften left knee to left toes to the floor. Wow, my body parts today are just not on point. That's okay. On your exhale, we're gonna roll forward, high plank, wrists underneath the shoulders. Drop the knees to the floor. And then come up to standing on the shins. Hands to the low back, fingers point down. Roll the shoulders together on the back body. Tuck the tailbone forward and open the heart. Inhale to come back up through center. We're going to sit back on the heels, bringing knees all the way together. Then we're going to separate the feet here so you can sit between the heels. Now, if this causes tension in the knees, step back a step and sit back on the heels. You can hang out here. You can drop to hands. You can drop to forearms. You could eventually drop all the way down to the back if that is available in the body. Whatever shape you're in, tuck the tailbone up towards the sky just a little bit so that we can lengthen out the quads. But as we come back, it also comes a little bit of a back bend, heart opening shape. And if you've lowered down onto the back or onto the forearms, let's make our way back up, but take your time getting there. A couple of full cycles of breath to transition. Eventually, once you're up into center, let's cross over ankles. Bring legs out into a straddle. Now this shape might already feel tight for you. If that's the case, you can sit up onto a prop, a block, or a bolster, or a blanket. Toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. You might hang out here, or you could bring hands to the floor. You could walk hands forward. You could come down to forearms, or forearms to a prop, or eventually you could work towards working all the way down onto the belly. Again, it's not about what the shape looks like. It's about what it feels like in the body. Keep the toes pointed up as the heart softens towards floor. For these last couple cycles of breath, let's drop the head, chin in towards chest. Full surrender into the shape. And then inhale to come back up through center. Bend into the knees, bottoms of the feet together. Hold on to the big toes. Sit up tall out of the waist. And exhale to fold forward. You might even press the elbows into the inner thighs here. So you're inviting the knees a little bit closer to the floor. A little bit of a self-assist, opening up the hips. Inhale to come back up through center. Keep the knees bent, drop the feet to the floor, hip width distance. We're gonna bring hands under the shoulders, fingers point towards the ankles, but if that's too much on the wrist, you can rotate them out as needed. And then grounding into the hands and the feet on your inhale, lift the hips up. Shoulders together onto the back body, head and neck in line with the spine. And then using your exhale, release the hips back down to the floor. Keep the knees bent. We're gonna shift the upper body forward so we can clasp opposite elbows around the knees. And then around through the back body, chin in towards chest, forehead towards the knees. And then releasing clasp of the hands, slow roll down the spine one vertebrae at a time. And once you're down, we're just gonna land in a Supta Baddha Konasana. So we've been in this shape seated, bottoms of the feet together, knees point to the edges of the mat. Bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. And this is where we're gonna land today. I always encourage in this shape that you even find the heartbeat with the hand or find the rhythm of the breath. Just really gentle and loving reminders of our humanness. And an opportunity to be really grateful for all that the body does behind the scenes, the things that we don't have to think about, like breathing or heart beating. I encourage you to take the next several minutes here knowing that this is just as important in the practice, finding these pockets of stillness, as it is that we move.